Hello and welcome to the channel. If this is your first time, if you've been here before, welcome back. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for coming. And funny thing happened after that fourth video. I mentioned that I hit 100 subscribers. And then someone did a very funny thing and unsubscribed, making me a liar. It's a little embarrassing. But luckily, I've got some friends that subscribed, and we're back up above 100 again. Not really sure what that means or if it really matters, but I appreciate anyone who comes to the channel and finds these videos fun or helpful or just likes to sit through them. God forbid you even like my voice a little. But in any case, this is the sixth and final video in the series for the Great Guitar Build Off 2022. And we're going to do a bit of assembly and then a sound test at the end of the video. There will be one more video, and that's more like a super cut, so it's not really in the series. I'll end up putting it in the playlist anyhow, but I hope you enjoy this video. I'm glad you came. Thank you, and enjoy. So, continuing on from the last episode, I started digging these trenches out with chisels and gouges, and then moved to a Dremel just because it was taking much longer than I wanted it to, so you can kind of see the cutout there. After each one, I would fit the bridge saddle to it just to make sure it fit, and lather, rinse, repeat. Yes, another nerve-wracking thing, trying to use a gouge and chisel on a finished guitar to scoop out the sections that I needed for this, and worrying that I was going to scrape a little further than I wanted to. Now, luckily, all this is underneath the bridge saddles. You'll never be able to see this unless I take the bridge saddle out. But at the same time, a little too much pressure, go a little too long, and I'm then doing finish repairs again, which I think I actually did a couple times. I think there's one just between that bridge pickup cavity and the bridge saddle location. So one strategy that I used for each of these is I would take a flat chisel, a very small one, and kind of scribe or score a line where I wanted to stop pushing up against with the gouge. And by doing that, most of the time it would stop it in time, or at least like lift the gouge up so I didn't score the finish that I didn't want to scratch through. Yes. Comments below on all the great angles that I'm giving you. Sorry. It's kind of tough to find a place for the camera while you're doing all this work that shows you what I'm doing, but shows me doing it. I don't know that any of that's necessary, but it's not as easy as I thought it would be. Also, as a little production note, I had started making all these videos with just recording from my my phone and using the camera and mic on that. I switched for at least this portion to a it is not a GoPro, it's a GoPro-like, but it's in a like one of those plastic cases, and I don't think that the mic picks up the sound of the workshop very well, which shouldn't really be a big deal, but it might be to some people who like hearing those sounds, so apologize for that, but I'll work on seeing what I can figure out to make it a little nicer. overall. It really did take a lot of time. You can kind of see there how I put down painter's tape, just blue tape, low tack tape, so that I didn't damage the finish. However, I probably should have kept it on there for like all the times that I used the screwdriver to get this in, because man, the number of times that I dented the finish with this screwdriver, just either dropping it or going a little too off center with it and kind of coming off, probably would have been a good idea to just keep the tape there. Actually, with regards to all the dents that I made in it, the way I used to try and fix that, or fix some of these dents that I make, damp towel, iron. I actually use a soldering iron. Some people just use just a regular iron for clothing, and just kind of steam that area for a couple minutes, keeping it wet, keeping it hot, and that dent will usually come right out, which is a pretty neat thing. So I kind of skipped over where I installed the bridge saddle too tight and couldn't get the, I think it was would have been the second string saddle in there, but now we're just on to getting the strap locks in, because the bridge is installed. All the tuning machines up at the headstock. I thought gold hardware would be would go well with this this color scheme, the white and the purple. One thing I still would like to do is the knob on the 5-way switch, the blade switch. Right now I just have a white one on there because that's what I got to fit it, or that would fit the actual switch. I have some gold ones. It's really just plastic plated gold. And one thing that's becoming a habit of mine is the thing about drilling through a guitar. Yeah. So here we are again. Time to break out the cocktail sticks, and actually first I put some tape in there and filled it. I have a bunch of sapele dust that I saved from when I used the spindle sander on the body when I was sanding it to shape. So I just taped the backside. I put in a bunch of sapele dust and then dropped some super glue in there, some CA glue. And once it had dried, I took off the tape from the other side with this bridge pickup. So it was the neck pickup that I drilled through on. But the bridge pickup, I was a lot more careful in what I was doing with it, rather than thinking, I'll just keep going until I get the right height. I actually had to use wire snips to cut the ends of the screws off to make them the right height. But yeah, I took the tape off on the back side and then put, I think I used the cocktail stick trick in each of those holes in the back side, and then covered it up with, actually maybe I didn't. I think I just went with the dust and then used some of the clear gloss lacquer, nitrocellulose lacquer, to kind of cover it up. And, it was a decent fix, but it's there. Though, again, this is a guitar for me. Only I'm ever going to know it's there. And that's the side that faces me anyway, faces my body when I'm playing it. Unless I'm trying to show it off, no one will ever notice. And here, previously in the last video, you saw me getting the controls all wired up. This now is me wiring the pickups into the controls that I already set up, which for a five-way super switch is a little difficult. There's a lot of leads on that switch. One of my favorite tools when doing any sort of electronics work is that little green meter there. I set it to continuity testing just to make sure that all my grounds are actually grounds and nothing else is tied to them. And so now I'm drilling further into the guitar because I've decided to move away from that barrel jack and just go with the standard jack with a plate. I use a diamond plate. I got a gold one to match the gold hardware, which I'm not sure anybody's really ever going to see, but we went with it. So there in this shot, you can see the string ferrules. And, you know, it was really honestly my first time using the drill press or doing this sort of work. And the ferrules, not that straight of a line, but now just a little bit of shaping the nut. I know that the angle, or I knew what the angle was that I was looking for, so I just set that angle on the disc sander there. And now I'm just kind of rounding over some of the edges on that. It's a bone nut, nothing special. It actually came with the kit, which is real nice. And setting in place just to make sure that it's feeling both sides to make sure that it doesn't exceed the width of the neck at that point. And now I'm going to start marking where the strings are going to go. So I think it's, I can't remember what it is, how many mil it is from the bass side to where I wanted to have the first string. So I just set my gauge there and drew in my line. I'm going to set both the outside edges there, and then use a fret slotting, no, not a fret slotting rule, but a nut marking rule to figure out where each string would go in there, and which is difficult because it's on an angle. So I kind of just have to line it up and then get as close as I can, as opposed to what I'd normally do with like a straight nut. I'd lay this rule on top of it and, you know, draw these lines in those openings. Makes it a lot easier, but can't do that when you have a multi-scale guitar. So just dry fitting it again just to make sure everything looks right. I use that scalpel or craft knife again. I try and line it up right on that line that I drew to get the angle right and in that right slot. And just start it a little bit so I have something, and I have nut slotting files, and here I'm just using will be approximately 10 gauge strings, although I think I put 9 gauge strings on the guitar when I strung it up, but going very slow at first. Then once I can feel a groove in there, I get my angle it down towards the back, and just file it in. And do the same thing for each string. I have a different file for each string, and one of those things where I did draw a line to indicate, you know, on the front of the nut how low I wanted to go, so I know not to exceed that line. You can't really see it in this view, but it's there, I promise. And here the fretboard just needed a little bit of cleaning up. What's not shown is I actually took a scraper to the fretboard. There's a lot of debris and gunk from having the tape on it, and I cleaned that all up as much as I could anyway. And now I'm just using some fretboard finishing oil to clean it up, let it soak in a little bit. I broke that craft knife out again just to kind of scrape any spots that I missed with the scraper. All right, so here's the setup. We've got the guitar going into an AB switch. That's this right here. And then a compressor. This is a Keeley. And like that pre-effects, which the board is just a Line 6 Pod Go. I've got both outputs from the Pod Go going out and up to a Behringer Euphoria UMC 202 HD, just the 2-input USB interface. And as far as recording goes, I'm just using Cakewalk. Just a stereo track there. I'm not going to put any plugins on, but I am going to use effects. What we'll do is we'll start by running direct and bypassing all effects. So you see the compressor's off. I'm going to bypass the effects and just go direct here with no amp or anything. So I'll pick a new preset and disable the amps and everything except the volume so that we just get some direct sound right away. And then after that, we'll do some of my presets that I've put together. And we'll go through those when we get to them. All right, so what we have with the Fishman Fluence Tosin Abasi 6-string pickups is we've got a 5-way blade switch, and positions 1, 3, and 5 have 2 different voices. I have a push-pull potentiometer. I made a comment in a previous video that said I didn't think I did push-pull, but as you actually watch the wiring, you can look at the tone potentiometer and see it's definitely a push-pull. And so that allows you 2 different voicings for positions 1, 3, and 5 if you go by their wiring schematic, which, by the way, really easy to wire up. I was impressed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through positions. We've got a dry signal, so I'm just going straight from the guitar through that AB switch that I mentioned. Compressor's off. I have no IR filters for amp or cab. It's just going straight through to Cakewalk on the computer. And so we'll start at position 1 and do voice 1, then voice 2, so you can kind of compare the two. Then we'll go all through the positions like that. 2 and 4 only have 1 voice, so that won't matter. So first we'll start with the bridge pickup, position 1, voice 1. All right, voice 2. Position 2, which is like a single coil version of the pickup, I believe, so it'd be the bridge pickup. It's got a lot of bite. I like it a lot. All right, so third position, which will be both pickups and voice 1. voice 2. All right. Position 4, which should be the neck pickup, like a single coil version of that. And we'll go to 5th position, which is the neck pickup, and there are 2 voices, so we're going to start with voice 1. And now voice 2. All right, for the next sound demo, I'm going to just, I dialed in a plexi patch, so really nothing on this aside from an EQ and a plate reverb. Pretty heavy on the crunch on this one, so I'm going to do the same sort of thing where I go through all the voicings, and we'll go the same process. So position 1, voices 1, then 2, position 2, position 3, voice 1, then 2, and on. So here we are, position 1, voice 1. Voice 2. Position 2. Kind of messed up what I was playing there, but pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. All right, position 3, voice 1. Position 3, voice 2. Position 4. Position 5, voice 1. And position 5, voice 2. And finally, I'm going to use a clean-ish patch that I have created for myself. It's a Fender Deluxe Reverb amp with a Marshall Greenback M20. I know it's heresy, but I like the way it sounds. Again, no compression on this one, and it's really just parametric EQ and another plate reverb. I like the plate sound. But we'll go through the voicings much the same as we did before. All right, voice 2. Voice 2. I'm sorry, position 2. position. Again, both pickups. Voice 1. Yes, I do like this song a lot. And voice 2. Then we've got position 4, which neck, single coil, I think. And finally, position 5, well, the penultimate position, or voice, position 5, voice 1. I like how bright it is, how biting it is, you know, those first voices, and then here's the second voice of that position. So, final thoughts. I love the sound that these get, or the range of sounds that I can get with these pickups. Really, it's what I was looking for this particular guitar. I wanted something a little more modern sounding. I love Tosin Abasi's playing and the tones that he gets. Not there yet. Definitely not there playing wise. But yeah, so there it is. The finished product. I don't really have a name for it or the model or anything like that. So if you have some good ideas, feel free to let me know in the comments. I appreciate you coming to check this out and watching throughout this series or even just this one video. So thank you again, and hope you have a really great rest of your day, week, year, everything.